I'm just gonna make, basically what we're making is a New York cheesecake, but we're gonna make it a dude's cheesecake, so we're gonna make maple bacon, all right? There's some maple bacon. So some of y'all might like bacon, but it's a guy thing that'll eat anything with bacon, right? All right, all I'm gonna do, this is my push pan, y'all, it all comes up, right? So we're cooking it in there, this push pan, this is set on the trivet. But I got graham cracker crumbs. All right, I'm gonna use a cup. All right, let's put it over there. If you want it to come up, well, let's see, I'll go ahead and do 2 cups. Because if you like to come up the sides of it, then you use 2 cups, right? But if you just want your crust on the bottom, some people like more their cheesecake than the crust. I like a lot of crust myself. I like crust. So I'm gonna use 2 cups, and then we're using 2 tablespoons of butter. And then that's not no given. You just want your graham cracker crust to hold together. You know what I mean? When you squeeze it, you just want it to just stay together a little bit. So sometimes you might have to add a little more butter or not. But normally that does it. That does pretty close to it. I'll try to do this without sticking my hands down there. Alright. Anyway, you just move that around some. We're going to put that in the bottom. And you can actually, once you get that in there, I'll do it both ways. Sometimes I'll put it in the oven and brown it, and sometimes I just put it in the freezer, right? But tonight we ain't going to do neither one. I'm going to pack it, and then we're going to fill it up. Actually, I'm gonna need a little more butter. Hey, can she give me 2 more tablespoons of butter? Because I added 2 cups. If you do 1 cup, it's 2 tablespoons. If you do 2 cups, you double that.
You need
I need it. Yes, sir.
Oh, I'll be right back.
Yeah, it's all right. We got the time. We're good. I just decided to run it up the sides. All right, while I'm waiting on him, what we're gonna do, we got 2 8 ounces of cream cheese. Use Philadelphia, y'all. The other stuff, I've used the cheaper stuff. It don't do as good. I just stick with that. You find something good, you better stick with it. All right. I'm gonna do a 1/2 cup of sugar to that. And I'll post this or put it on somewhere. You know, you don't remember. It's not too bad. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. I can post this on my Facebook. Most of y'all follow me, I think. I can put it on there. Or just let me know and I'll tag you in it or something. Or you can go to my website and I'll do a recipe on there too. Whatever works. All right, what y'all doing? I always beat my sugar and my cream cheese up first. The best thing to do is make cream cheese, y'all, leave it out all night. You know what I mean? That way, because if it's cold and you put it in here, it's aggravated. It gets all stopped up and stuff. The longer you leave it out, the easier it is. And one other thing, boss man. Somebody get his attention. Oh, I got it right here, never mind. I think I do. I need the heavy whipping cream. You gotta have that. I'm sorry, y'all, hang on. I missed it. Ask her there's a heavy whipping cream back there. Can you hear me? I ain't gonna mess it up. I ain't gonna mess it up. Y'all just have to stand by. I'm gonna have it right.
Sprinkled at once and most of the way.
I had messaged him about it, but I guess he didn't.
What?
Be allergic to oranges.
Orange or citrus.
Yes,
So,
yes.
well, I didn't know that. And
I
she's
forgot
got them
that.
on there, and guess what? I don't know which one's orange. So what we're gonna do is just give them some
It's
plain.
fine.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
good.
we'll get
Yeah,
you
and
some
you can
plain.
do the fruit too.
Yeah.
The fruit don't have the orange in it, any of the fruit. But it's, yeah.
It's not a rescue squad.
Oh, we don't want nothing like that. I don't need nobody swelling up.
It's nothing like that.
Too bad. Yeah, we don't need nobody swelling up. That's a quarter cup of heavy whipping cream.
Oh, wow. I thought we were gonna share. Thank you. Wow. Even better, huh?
So how much whipping cream?
It's a quarter cup of heavy whipping cream.
Right.
And then you go ahead and put a teaspoon of vanilla.
Yeah.
Alright, and then we're gonna add a tablespoon of bold hickory smoked olive oil.
Okay, this is just for this cheesecake, right?
Yes.
Oh,
But now, like if you wanna make a New York cheesecake,
You would leave that out.
you just leave this oil out in
Okay.
vinegar, right? And then this will be a New York cheesecake. That's all you gotta do. But for this, it's gonna be a tablespoon of this, tablespoon of bold hickory smoked, and a half a tablespoon of the vinegar. It's the maple vinegar,
How much vinegar?
half a tablespoon. And then we're gonna get that mixed up. Y'all go ahead and eat
It don't matter, they're gonna be gone anyway.
Yeah, right out, let me know, I got more back there. Let's not be shy.
Pretty good stuff, isn't it? That blueberry's awesome.
Is it good? Let's get that.
No, I think I might need another piece just to try.
Just to be sure. Just to be sure.
I think that blueberry one was the most difficult one to cut.
It was, those blueberries getting all gushy in there and,
That's what makes them good though.
yeah, that's true. If you guys like the blueberries, you're more welcome to come here and get a little sample of the blueberry croissant, that's what it's made with. Of course, some more on it.
That's right, that makes it good.
Oh, see? Here's Fricka.
Or for that matter, the girls, they got plain.
Now, who got the, if you got, y'all tasted the orange yet? Huh? You tasted that in it?
Oh, yeah. That's fabulous.
That reminds me of them orange push-ups.
I think it might be. Did you try it?
Anyway, at this point, y'all either put your crust in the freezer or either in the oven. You're gonna add your eggs one at a time. One at a time. You don't want to beat them very much at all. Make sure you don't do your eggs.
That crust is thick, I know, right?
How many eggs?
gonna be 2 eggs. If you want it a little bit richer, sometimes I'll do 2 eggs and then 1 yolk, so it kinda depends what you like, but most of the time just 2 is good. But you wanna just drop them in one at a time and not beat them very much at all. You just wanna bust that yolk up a little bit, cause that's what's gonna get your texture right. About it on them eggs, that's all you want to do. And I have just done it with a spatula and then mixed them eggs in with a spatula.
Raspberry. Raspberry blossom. Cheesecake. That's a little much.
All right, that's pretty much all there are to it. We're gonna get the pot ready and then
Oh, I bet it's good with the raspberries too. I already swallowed that one also. Do that plain.
you want 1 cup of water. That's in a 6 quart. Now if you got an 8 quart, you want to put 1.5 cups of water. It ain't gonna hurt just a little more. I have done 1.5 cups, but you got to at least have a cup. You at least gotta have a cup. What are y'all over there doing?
Burn thing. Burn.
Who said that come up? I had
There
that.
it is. I'm fixing something to burn. It says burn.
That's right. We'll do that. It's got too hot.
She heated it up and you didn't add more water.
That's right. You do it that way too. I've done that.
Can some ginger beer.
I poured the water in there one time and then it had the freaking pot in it. You know, a pot was sitting over there and I said, well, so I turned it upside down, let it dry out, and it was good. So, but a lot of people do that. A lot of people put them on their stove tops too. You wouldn't believe how many I see that they burn the whole bottoms of them up. You know,
Oh my goodness.
because they'll bump the stove and turn it on. So anyway, that's all there much to it.
Oh.
You're gonna put it on. I do it on pressure cook. Okay, I'm gonna do 38 minutes. 37, 38, and then once it times out, let it count backwards for 15 minutes.
Pressure cook for 38.
38 minutes. And then you're going to do a natural pressure release for 15 minutes. That's, in other words, it'll start counting down the other way. And once it reaches 15, you're good to go. You can open your vent up, and if there's any in it, let it out, and then you're good. That's all they are.
You made that seem so simple.
It's for people to buy the box stuff, it don't make much sense when it's not much. You know, it ain't that hard to do. We're gonna start this thing. Y'all ready? We made a maple bacon on the last class. We had it right here. So this is it right here. But this time I had a request to make. We're gonna make my push pans, y'all. This is what my regular push pan is right here, and then this is my other one here. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do 3 different flavors. So I'm gonna drop that divider in there. Okay, and that's the way they work. And push pans, you know, most y'all know what it means. When you get done, you raise it right up out of there. So we're gonna start making that. And what I'm gonna do first, I'll post a recipe for all these. I've done this one tonight and this one. I'll post that or get it to you somehow if you're interested in having it. But basically, we're just gonna do a New York cheesecake, and then I'm gonna add stuff to it. Most of the time, that's all you got to do on all these other cheesecakes people do is like if I done the blueberry or the raspberry or whatever. It's a basic New York cheesecake, and then you add all that stuff to it. You know, just whatever you want to make out of it, and it works great. But anyway, I got graham cracker crumbs. I'm gonna use a cup. I'm gonna use a cup on this one. I use 2 cups on this. It depends on how high you want your crust to come up. You know, some people don't want a lot of crust, some do, and so I make them a couple of different ways. But I'm gonna just use a cup on this one, and then I'm gonna press that divider down inside of it. And you could, and I have done it before, if you'll see that picture over there, it's just a cup of graham crackers. If you'll see that picture, now I had that divider in and I pressed my cracker crumbs around the edges so it'd be all the way around the 3 little pieces, you know. But this time I'm gonna put it straight down in it and we're gonna press it in. So anyway, you got about 2 tablespoons of butter. That's all you want in that. And we're gonna press that in, mix that up and press it in a little bit. You can actually put parchment paper down in the bottom if you like. I don't never do it because I usually serve on that pan right there. I just leave it on there and put it on my thing. So I don't normally put parchment paper down. It just sometimes it makes it easier if you want to get that plate out. But other than that, I don't do it. If you wanted to spray it, okay. I ain't never had a problem on sticking, so I don't do that either. Let's go with this. 2, when you get your crust, you can put it in the oven on 350 for a few minutes and brown it, or put it in the freezer. I always put mine in the freezer. I just like mine that way. It's a little better that way. And I just press it in the bottom. See, I'm just gonna put the layer on the bottom. Just press it slightly. If you press it too hard, it gets hard when you cook it. All right, that's that. I got 2 8-ounce packages of sour cream. I use Philadelphia. I don't like that other stuff, that cheap stuff. It just it'll never work out with me. It ain't as good. So if you get the good stuff, you're just gonna beat that up a little bit. Best thing to do is leave this out overnight. I'm gonna leave it out, get it cold. Makes it hard to do. I'm gonna do a 1/2 cup of sugar. I'm gonna beat that in there just a minute. So how many of y'all got pressure cookers? All of you? That's good. All y'all need my stuff then. 1/2 cup of sugar. Hey, we had nine going last night. We were wide open. 9 cheesecakes. I'll show you how we done it in a minute. Takes a little bit easier anyway. All right. Teaspoon of vanilla flavor. That's a teaspoon. I like this stuff, y'all. And 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. And that's pretty much all you want to do. You're going to put your eggs in, but you don't want to put them into the last deal. And you just put 1 at a time in. That's what's going to make it right. See, y'all make cheesecakes in them yet? Cheesecakes, yeah. Nobody? One. Don't do them any other way, hardly, once you do it. They're so much better like that. I think just all the flavor stays in that pot. Well, it's just like with anything, you know, that itself, it's all, even your meats and stuff like that, it all stays in there to make it great. One more time, and we're going to get ready to do it. And you just want to barely bust that yolk. You don't want to go long at all. If you beat it in there a long time, it ain't gonna be worth the flip. It's gonna bust all up. Actually, a lot of times I just take a spatula and mix my eggs in with it, so I don't like to take a chance of beating it too much. At this point right here, y'all, it's pretty much you got in your cheesecake, you know what I mean? That's all you got. Smells good anyway. Might steal some from him. One of them got a little more than the other. I'll get this out of the way. But I done 3 of them like this. It's on that paper she's got. It was a lemon, a lime, and an orange. And I done 3 different ones. And it turned out pretty good. So we got espresso here. Yeah, we're gonna do an espresso vinegar on one side of them. And about a teaspoon's all you want. That vinegar's strong, you don't want to overwhelm it. About a teaspoon. And you're just gonna swirl it in, kebab stick or toothpick or whatever. And don't go down in the crust, just run it across, because it's all gonna cook in it once it gets under pressure. So what else we got? Key lime. Key lime sounds pretty good, don't it?
Yeah.
Might get that a little bit more extra than
Yeah.
I said, a teaspoon. And I made the key lime, straight key lime cheesecakes in there too. It's great. All right, we're missing one more. That's one I just had. I'd probably help if I put my glasses on, y'all, before I mess up. Raspberry, and you'll have raspberry before long. We made raspberry, and then we made using blueberry, and then we done a vanilla orange. It tastes kind of like remember those push-ups? Orange push-ups. Yeah.
That's Brewster's flavor of the month.
Yeah. All right, that's pretty much it, y'all. We're gonna be ready. What I'm gonna do, I got a cup of water in my pot. Okay. Always make sure you do a cup of water. And you cover this up with foil at that point or whatever. I'll just lay this on it, and that's what I do with that too. And my stuff has got, you see, it's got 1-inch feet on the bottom because you gotta have that. You can't set it straight down in the pot. Everything's got to set up unless you're gonna saute or something like that. But that's pretty much that. And we're gonna do it 38 minutes. I'm gonna go manual. This has got pressure cooked. It's either manual or pressure cooked for 38 minutes, and that's gonna do that on that. And then now, y'all good to go. You got we'll just I'll show y'all a little bit about the stuff on it. And there was a lady one day trying to make a whole meal in Instapot, but she and I was chasing likes, and she was too, you know. So I cooked something one day, and I got about 2,000 likes. I said, "Oh yeah, that's good right there," you know. Then she cooked something, and she blew it away, about 7,000 likes. And I said, "What in the heck?" So she took meatloaf, and she wrapped it up in tinfoil, and she packed it in the pot, and then she took vegetables. And I said, it doesn't look good to me, you know, a bunch of tinfoil. So I was thinking how I could come up with something to cook a whole meal in this pot, you know. So if you remember the beer can chicken, that's where I got this from. This is the idea I got. So I said, if I could figure out how to get that thing that we used to do the beer can chicken in and make it smaller and we're fitting this pot, then I might have something. And I was, like I said, I was just chasing, I didn't sell nothing or nothing. So anyway, I snuck at work one day and I cut one out. And I welded the pipe on it and put spikes on it, you know, and then I come home that night and I took a whole chicken and I filled that pipe up with Coke, or I done it with Coke, or whatever you want, and I slid that whole chicken over it and I set it in that pot and I cooked it it's 6 minutes a pound, so I cooked it in 25 minutes. And I took it out and I stuck my corn, my potatoes, my onions all around it, and I set this thing back in there and I pulled it out and I had a whole meal. So it kind of blew up. So I said, you know what? And there's a few people wanted to see if I can make them for them, and I said, well, let me just see what I can do. And that's where I started. I started this right here. That was it. And then I just went from there. You know, I've done different stuff. It ain't just for a chicken. I've actually done a pineapple and slide a pineapple over it and different stuff. But then I just didn't want to be stuck with just that pipe. So I got a spike. And what I do with it?
It's back here on the back of the
Okay.
cabinet.
We did s'mores in that thing too. Remember the s'mores?
Yeah, actually I did do that. I took one of them little fuel things, you know, and I put it in there, and I lit it, and I put marshmallows all around there, and me and my granddaughter roasted marshmallows up that fire. So yeah, I done s'mores on. But anyway, now I went back and I redesigned it, and I welded all this stuff. It's 304 stainless steel, and it's 14 gauge. Most all your plates are 14 gauge, and I got 16 on some of the pans. But I went back and actually all these are, y'all, and I went a few different ways on these spikes. You know, we would take and put in a lay and grind the points and all that. But then I needed feet. I said, I gotta have feet. So that's a stainless steel food grade nail. That's what that is. And it worked out, you know, the best anything that I could come up with. And so we just stuck with that. We done away with all the other stuff we was trying, and that's what it turned out to be, because it worked out perfect. Anyway, I fixed this. Now that, you can stick a turkey breast or roast or ham on it, and you do it the same way. You just set it in there and you cook your meat first, and you take it out and you put your vegetables on it, and there you go. And also with this pipe, I done a whole chicken, and I take a rack of baby rack ribs and stick them on these spikes and cook everything at one time. And then you got it that way too. But it was just, but it goes that way. And then all my stuff fits. I make it to fit, so you don't get stuck with something that you have to buy 100 different pieces. So I make it so they all work with each other. And notice these three right here are the same. Except this one right here don't have the spikes, right? And this one right here has got the holes in the bottom for the basket or whatever. It's low country boil, shrimp, or whatever you want to do in them. And I'll show you that in a minute with that basket. But I wanted to make it where everything would work with those slots, so you wouldn't get stuck with something. So these three plates right here, everything I got fit those three. So I go, well, I'll show you the steam basket first right quick. This right here is what I got. And I got handles they take off and on. Well, they're in the pot. Now here we go. Here's some right here. These handles, they hook in everything's got the two holes. And so you can take them off and store them, and there ain't nothing hanging off the sides of them. Anyway, you just pop your basket on. And then, like I said, you can do shrimp or low country, and everything locks in like this right here. So, you know, it ain't gonna fall apart. And then that's what you got right there. So you can do your steaming, your vegetables and whatnot. And then some stuff that I don't want that steam shooting straight up through the plate. I don't want to get done that fast. So I'll do it this way. And this locks on too. You know, like shrimp, you want to get it done and get it out fast, and you would do it this way. There's some vegetables I wanted to put it in there, and I want it to get done fast, but I don't want that steam to hit directly on the bottom. It makes it soggy and stuff. So I got that. But this basket will fit everything I got. It slides over them, locks in that, all of them, so you can still use that. If a person just had this right here, then all my stuff would fit. They wouldn't have to have all these other attachments. That's the kind of way I done it. And then you got a 4-inch pan. It sets on here. That's a big boy. That's when you're hungry. But if you do lasagnas and spaghettis and just any kind of casseroles, and you can make, I made a cheesecake that big one time too. Did. Anyway, but that's the 4-inch pan. And then you got a 3-inch, same thing. It goes all the way around. That's for you different cheesecakes. And then I got a 2-inch, and that's what I use that a lot. I'll show you real quick on how that works on that 2-inch. And then you take a 3-inch. Like that. And then you can put multiple stuff, stack it, and then you put your hand on it and set that whole thing in the pot, and you cook a whole meal in it. And then you got your dividers that you put in here, like that, and you do 3 things if you want to separate it. And then the same difference you got is with you got a single divider that goes in like that. And then you can do, and what I had normally done was I done fish and shrimp on each side, and then I done my vegetables and I stack it and set it in there, and it's done. So you got a whole meal. And if you do like fish and shrimp and most of your vegetables, it's got all the same cooking time. So you're not, some stuff you'll have to, like the chicken, you'll take it out back and forth. But if you do the right, and you'll learn along the way, you'll find certain ones that got the same time, then you, 2 minutes, you take it out and you're done. You know, it's over with. But that's, and then the push pan, I guess that was anything. Push pan, same way. And you can actually cook the cheesecake in the push pan or this pull pan. You can cook the cheesecake, and what you do here is when you cheesecake, what you're going to do is release that. And this is a pull pan. This is pull. Well, this is just push. So it goes either way. And what I do sometimes is another deal I got is when I make stuff, everything fits everything else. Is you can drop this plate in that pan, and you got the same thing. When it gets done, that plate ain't gonna drop out. It'll be stuck in there with whatever it's got, and then you can push it out the same way. But you don't have to have that. It just makes it a little bit better sometimes. It's just something that was going along with these. All right.
Do the push pans fit all 3 of the 4, the 3, and the 2? The push pans do?
The push pan, do they fit what? The dividers?
The stackers.
Your stackers.
They'll stack. They'll stack on top of each other.
No, will the, she's saying will the push pan plate fit in the stackers?
Yes, that's it right there.
Okay.
Just drop it in right there. It fits like all of it. It fits. Yeah, the push pan plate will fit everything. This big one, if you drop in that one. I mean, all of them, everything I make the same size. That way you don't, you know, you can use it for everything. Even if you put a pan on this right here, you know, it's gonna fit in there. Everything fits. I make it where it all fits.
So how is it sealing? Like if I made a cheesecake in the 3-inch pan and just bought a push pan to go in the 3-inch, how's it sealing to keep the cheesecake from the stuff from coming out the bottom?
It ain't. There's one in this right here. You see it? There's nothing.
It just fits.
It's tight
enough.
It's a tight fit.
It just don't.
If
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Now I've made them just with this, and it's not going to leak. Now I don't say you're going to go put soup or beans or something like that, but you know, for the most part, it don't leak. This one didn't leak a bit to drop. But if you had something really thin, I've done it. If you had something really thin and you just worried about leaking, you put parchment paper in there first and lay that in there, and I promise you it won't leak. But right there, most stuff is not going to leak anyway.
Okay.
But if you was concerned about it leaking, that would stop it right there. Because I have done that. I've tried it, and I put the parchment and pushed it in there tight and poured stuff in it just to see if it would leak, and it held it. Actually, I done baked beans in it, and that's how, you know, because it was thin. So that's, it don't leak.
It's kind of like Legos. You probably figure out a way to use one of those that we ain't figured out yet.
That's
You know what I mean? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it, that's all of it. You got any questions? Anybody got any questions? I guess y'all ready for cake, ain't you? I don't need cake. You ain't need cake. They out here licking their lips.
What? She's cutting as fast as she can. She said you brought too many varieties.
I know. Yeah, go ahead and stop that.